Welcome to this Upcast training session that covers the essential concepts regarding the provider dashboard, a unified interface for dataset management. In this session, we will go through the main features available on this platform and follow the journey of an end user, acting as a data provider representative. The Upcast Provider Dashboard is an interface which facilitates the whole life cycle of a dataset in the Upcast ecosystem from the perspective of a data provider. It encompasses standalone administrative and monitoring features, like the definition and registration of a dataset, along with functionalities supported by various Upcast plugins which are integrated on the dashboard. Thus, it accommodates a seamless process to demonstrate the benefits of Upcast tools for data providers within a single platform, allowing them to leverage the project's tools without any prerequisite custom integration. During the webinar, we will go through its main features across the user journey to register, publish, and negotiate a data sharing agreement with a potential consumer. The agenda of this training session begins with an overview of the platform's features and a motivation for small and medium enterprises to use the dashboard. After that, we present an analysis of its functionality, followed by a live demo to end with the key takeaways and a set of additional resources for further reading. The dashboard was designed as part of the Upcast project to encompass the usage of Upcast plugins in a real user flow and provide data owners with an interface to perform all necessary administrative operations that ensure an effective, fair, and sovereign data exchange with data consumers. The dashboard utilizes a set of internal services for authentication, event handling, and storage of dataset information, while integrating with external services offered by Upcast plugins to annotate datasets on their pricing, environmental footprint information and usage policies, publish them, and negotiate with interested data consumers. Small and medium enterprises can benefit from the provider dashboard for a set of reasons. First of all, it offers a minimalistic interface to easily document their library of datasets, whether available for negotiation or not, providing an overview of their semantic contents, formats, and instances. Furthermore, it's an online, ready-to-use integrated solution that utilizes Upcast plugins, which offer a great variety of operations that are hardly found in a single online service, and any exceptions can be unreasonably expensive. Last but not least, the provider dashboard can be easily configured upon request to integrate with additional software tools or expand its operations with custom features tailored to the requirements of specific business sectors. Let's dive into the main features that will be presented in the demo. The first step that a data provider needs to follow is dataset registration. Datasets are described in the provider dashboard through their metadata, which are broken down in 3 different layers to represent the multiple ways that the same dataset can be formatted and stored. The first layer is the dataset itself, which includes all the semantic information, such as its title, relevant keywords, the period it refers to, and indicators about its data qualities. The second layer is the distribution, which refers to formatting information, such as media types, file format, and data attributes in structured datasets. Each dataset can have multiple distributions. The third and last layer is the instance, which represents a materialization of a dataset on a given data service and contains information about its access method, compression, and files. After the registration of a dataset, providers can annotate each instance with the use of 3 Upcast plugins. Pricing annotation utilizes the Upcast pricing plugin to estimate a range of fair prices for an instance. Environmental annotation uses the Upcast environmental plugin to estimate the energy consumption and environmental footprint of a cloud-hosted instance. Finally, usage policy annotation accesses the Upcast policy engine to generate usage policies for an instance, expressed in the Open Digital Rights language. When the annotation of an instance is complete, the provider can use the publishing plugin to upload its description on one or more available marketplaces. In the scope of Upcast, 3 marketplaces are available: Dawex, Nokia, and OKFN. Finally, when a published dataset is discovered by a consumer and a negotiation is triggered, the provider can monitor and run the whole process on the dashboard with the help of the negotiation plugin. A short demo of the provider dashboard will follow, in 4 steps. Step 1 presents the user journey to register a dataset define its distributions, and list its instances. Step 2 presents the annotation processes using the pricing and environmental plugins developed within Upcast. Step 3 presents the assignment of policies on a dataset instance and the following process to publish that instance. Step 4 presents an overview of the available interactions within a negotiation with a data consumer.
The first step of the demo is on dataset registration. A data provider representative needs to click on the Add New button in order to open this of Canvas on the right part of the screen. This is where the basic information on the dataset layer are going to be given. First of all, we need to give a title. As an example, we will use a simple dataset containing information about flights that either depart or land on a specific airport. The creator is the owner of the dataset, so in our case, let's say Upcast Airport. The version can be any string, but in our case, let's say 1.0. You can also add additional version notes. And then a typical description of the contents of the dataset. Then we need to input a set of keywords that can be used for search. Then we choose the language of the dataset. After that, we have a calendar to pick the dates between which the data has been collected. In our case, let's say that they've been during December 2025. And then we have 4 indicators to say whether this dataset has either incomplete data, potential duplicates, unverified data, or synthetic data. Let's click on artificial data in our case. We confirm the creation of the dataset, and then we can click on it in order to enter its profile. You will notice that there is no distribution and no instance. First of all, we need to create a distribution. Flight data can be formatted in various formats. You could either have multiple JSON files or maybe CSV containing multiple rows, one per flight. Let's say that in our case we have a CSV file. So CSV distro, CSVs of text media type, and the file format will be CSV. The encoding in our case would be UTF-8. Then we can add the attributes of our data. In our case, we will definitely have the source of the flight, which is a string, and it's a mandatory field. The destination, which is also a string, and it is also mandatory. The flight code, which is also a string and also mandatory. The date, which is of date format and is once again mandatory. And last but not least, we could have some information about the number of passengers. This is going to be an integer field, and it is not mandatory. Optionally, a data provider can choose to include some sample data on any format they want. We confirm the creation of our distribution, and now we can move forward with an instance. The instance represents the physical actual files that are loaded in some kind of data service, and this is the place where a data consumer can reach the data from. In our case, let's say that you have an uncompressed instance on the website of our airport. So it's going to be the CSV instance. The associated distribution, which should be selected from the above cases, will be CSV distro. Also, we have a limitation that capital letters are not allowed in order for the publishing plugin to be able to process the file. So we will reformat this as CSV instance, and this is going to work. The actual file name would be flights.csv. Then we enter the file size in bytes. I'm going to click a random number. Compression in our case would be none. The URL where this would be fetchable from would be https, let's say appcast.airport.com/API/v3. The authentication method would be through JavaScript Web Token. The necessary transfer protocol to receive the data would be HTTPS. And for some additional information, we could probably provide in our case, documentation of the API on how to download the data. In case of free data, we could have simply the download link here and no additional information. So let's say that Swagger at URL as an example. By confirming this, we will have a whole set of a dataset, a distribution, and an instance. Using this in the next step, we will annotate it with pricing and environmental information. The second step of our demo is about pricing and environmental annotations. In this step, we will use a different dataset about liquid metals and their properties. The user interface in both tabs shows a table of instances, each row of which is an expandable accordion menu showing the latest results of the corresponding plugin. In the case of pricing, we have the minimum, the average, and the maximum values. We can call the plugins in two different ways, either from the three dots menu here, where we have an empty form with the input that the plugin requires, or from here, where the same form is auto-completed with the input used during that call. We can also see a result analysis with the full input data and the full output data, including some explanation fields. The same applies for the environmental plugin. In this case, we have the CO2 emissions, the energy consumption, and the energy cost. Let's make a test call by changing the country where the dataset is hosted. If we choose Denmark and keep all other fields the same, we will see that the energy consumption remains the same, but the CO2 emissions and the energy cost changes. For the next step of our demo, we will show annotation with usage policies and publishing. In this step, we will use the same dataset to discuss usage policies. In this tab, we can also see a table of instances. However, when we click on the accordion menu, what we see is an ODRL policies table. An ODRL policy is the set of a rule, actor, action, and one or more constraints. Practically, it defines whether an actor has the permission, duty, or prohibition to perform an action under a set of constraints. We can add new policies utilizing the Appcast policy engine. The process is selecting the type of the policy, for example, permission, the actor, which could be third party, the action, that could be notice, and the purpose, which could be research and development. Also, we can optionally add many more constraints of various types. Let's try editing one of the policies. We can go on this permission and change who the actor is. So let's say that this is an applicant. By confirming, we send a request to the policy engine, and when this returns, we can see the updated permission. The ontologies that we use are either custom pilot ontologies or already used ontologies from external specifications. After we finish annotating an instance with usage policies, we can go on with publishing. As we can see here, we also have an instance table with the instance name, associated distribution, the last update, and the status of the dataset. These two datasets are now registered because they have not been published to any marketplace. For the first step, we can choose to assign marketplaces. Prior to this demo, we had already assigned Nokia Marketplace in this instance. If we click Publish and then confirm this, then the process to publish this dataset is completed on the Nokia Marketplace. In the next step, we will show how negotiations are performed. In this last step, we will discuss negotiations using a very interesting example, the dataset that was used to test the integration among three Appcast components: the provider dashboard, the negotiation plugin, and the consumer dashboard. As you can see, a lot of test negotiations took place. A negotiation gets initiated when a consumer discovers a dataset and triggers the negotiation plugin. The first step is the creation of an offer based on the usage policies we defined here and the price we defined here. This offer looks like this: a price section, an ODRL policy section, and a natural language part for details. When a negotiation status is offered, then the provider can terminate it or wait for a response. If we terminate an offer, what we see is something like this: a static table of the last terms. If a response is received, then two things may happen. We either have an acceptance of the offer, or we may have a counter request. A counter request looks like this. Here we can reject the request, agree to it, or edit the terms. We can change the price, edit one of the policies, and the new one, let's add a prohibition for the consumer to distribute in order to enforce security. We can add this, and we can also change the text part. When we are done, we can submit a counteroffer. After the negotiation plugin takes some time to validate this, then the status is changed to offer and we can no longer edit it. Otherwise, if we agree, we see something like that. And with that, we conclude our webinar. Thank you.
To summarize, three main takeaways of this presentation are the following. 1. Data ecosystems nowadays are dynamic and complex. Small and medium enterprises cannot always develop their own software to facilitate their needs, either as data providers or data consumers. 2. Upcast plugins offer lightweight, ready-to-go solutions for all basic operations a data owner must perform to share and monetize their data in such an ecosystem. 3. The provider dashboard is a robust platform that integrates with Upcast plugins and can be used by data providers to offer a unified interface for the whole journey of a dataset, from registration to a data sharing agreement. Thorough documentation of the provider dashboard and its implementation technologies is available in Upcast public deliverables, which can be accessed through the project's website. If you need even more details, feel free to contact us at the address shown at the bottom of this slide. Thank you for watching this training session. We hope that you have found it useful.